trust level with ownership doesn't feel like it's at an all-time high.
Trust level midnight.
They maybe won back a little bit,
Yeah.
by making the right move in firing Gerard Mayo on Sunday, like an hour after the game. Kraft talked about it yesterday. You heard it here. Live on WEEI yesterday. We'll take your thoughts on it all day long here on Jones and Keefe. But how much trust do you put in Robert Kraft comes down to this coaching search. It comes down to a new personnel guy. If there is a new personnel guy, why is Elliott Wolf still here? It's something we talked about yesterday. It's something we reacted to in the immediate aftermath of that press conference yesterday. What's the trust level in Robert Kraft these days?
It's low. However, let's start with this. Let's start with a positive.
Okay.
3 things I think Robert Kraft has gotten right. Knowing when it was time to move on from Bill Belichick, knowing when it was time to move on from Gerard Mayo, and making sure the team drafted Drake May. Whether he had any say in that or not, I guess it's sort of up to your interpretation, but they at least took the right guy at 3. Okay, but everything else, hiring Gerard Mayo in the first place, a disaster. Having Elliott Wolf be promoted to the spot that he's in seems like a disaster. The whole, not interviewing head coaches last year, disaster. The offensive coordinator thing, and by all accounts being cheap and having to settle for your 13th option, not very good. Having all this cap space, not even spending it, not spending real cash dollars on the team, cheaping out on the roster, terrible. So, yeah, he knew when to move on from the coach, but he never should have hired that coach in the first place. So it's hard to have a great deal of confidence in him. Yesterday's press conference, I think, kind of summed that up, where he sort of starts out by saying he feels bad for Gerard Mayo, which is fine, put him in a tough spot, all that. You're like, all right, good, you made that move. And then it just kind of slipped away. Like, is Elliott Wolf back or is he not? Is the next head coach going to make those decisions or is he not? Do you have 2 quarterbacks or do you have 1? Like, it just kind of slipped away. So, no, I don't have a great deal of confidence.
So this might sound weird to phrase it this way, and I agree. I think he got all 3 of those right. I'm not sure everybody agrees with you and I on the Bill portion.
Oh, no, I think that's like 50-50.
I think a lot of people,
just me speaking.
A lot of people disagree with that. So a lot of people might only have 2 check marks, knowing when to move on from Mayo and drafting Drake May, having input and say in drafting Drake May. I'm with you on all 3 of those. I think that's a good list if you want to look for reasons to have faith in Robert Kraft beyond 6 Super Bowls and 2 decades of success, because I think we know who had a big hand in that success. So trying to really put it on Robert Kraft, I think those are good things you've identified. I do think firing Mayo was easy for a lot of us. It was hard for him.
Yeah, I believe him when he says that.
It's his hand-picked guy.
Yeah.
But that he knew when he fired him, that was going to be a PR win and a popular decision. So it's embarrassing to take your hand-picked guy and fire him. But it is an easy call when it comes to your fan base and your own popularity and winning back any trust from the fans. I don't trust him, but that was a step in the right direction for me. And this coaching search is going to go a long way to getting me back on board if I even can get back on board. And Elliott Wolf's role is going to go a long way in that as well. Does he hire Vrabel? I'm not going to fully trust that. Does he hire Ben Johnson? I'd feel a lot better about that. What's the breadth of their search? I mean, are they going to interview Liam Cohen? Yeah.
They go 15, 20 candidates?
Yeah, I'm not sure I would bring in some of the names the Jets are bringing in, but you should talk
you might as well.
7, 8, 9, 10 candidates. You
make up for lost time. You didn't talk to anybody last year.
Thank you. At worst case scenario, you get a few ideas or make a few contacts, which we know they are woefully short on having any contacts throughout the league, anything outside of the walls in Foxborough. So at bare minimum, do that and go through the exercise. So that'll give them a little bit more trust. Call about Kevin O'Connell. We'll get to that later on in the show because I find that interesting. And I think they should do a full-on search. But Elliott Wolf in his role is a big part of this as well. Why is he still here? Is he going to be part of the decision-making process moving forward? I know some people feel like he won't be. I'm fearful he will. And we'll get into that with all your phone calls, 617-779-7937. That's also your text line. You can interact on Twitter and Instagram, at Jones and Keefe. You can watch along, twitch.tv/Boston WEEI. Always a healthy chat going on there as well. And you can follow along on YouTube. Just subscribe to WEEI. Some news, by the way.
Yes.
Mike Vrabel is going to be interviewing with the Bears. He's also has an interview lined up with the Saints, or they've at least requested that he'll talk to him. Ian Rappaport adds to the Doug Kyde report that Vrabel will be interviewing with the Bears. He says, while many assume New England is the eventual landing spot, Vrabel will go through the process.
All right.
Jets first, Bears tomorrow, Saints on that list as well. Mike Giardi has some interesting comments about Gerard Mayo's locker room as well from some players, anonymous players, inside the locker room that we'll get to coming up. But Elliott Wolf in his role. Nick, can we cue up a little bit more of Robert Kraft yesterday? I didn't love this. I feel like Kraft was all over the map on Elliott Wolf, and I feel like the reporting today is a little bit all over the map on Elliott Wolf. Here's Robert Kraft yesterday.
What will happen with, for instance, the personnel department? What decisions will be made with whoever the next coach is, having the latitude to bring in his own players, his own scouting staff, his own coaches?
Yeah, we'll wait till we bring that coach in, and he obviously he's going to have big input on who the players are and who the coaches are. It'll be his decision. So
At this juncture, would it be status quo for everybody on the staff until an individual is found?
Yes. We'll let him, look, we move fast, and we're going to let him make those decisions.
Okay.
So I heard that.
So you and I read that a little differently yesterday. Where are you at now with those comments?
I think the coach is going to have a major say in the coaches, and if he's having a major say in the players, I would think you're not expecting him to be Bill Belichick and take on that role, but you would expect him to have either, approve a player personnel guy, if not bring one in with him. That's how I view that. Now, I think you're leaving the door open to all the guys that are currently on your staff that maybe the new head coach likes some of those guys, wants to keep them on board. So rather than firing all of them and rehiring them, there's no real rush. They're under contract. So let the new coach. So, he kind of laughs off the question at first. He's like, well, let's wait until this guy comes in here, because I think he is hopefully going to empower that guy to make a lot of choices.
Yeah, he says he'll have a say. A lot of people have says in organization. In an organization, is he going to have the actual pull and yank and final say?
Well, how many head coaches have say in the players, final say on the players? I don't think too many.
No, maybe if I had to guess off the top of my head, 5-ish, something like that.
And none of them have
I think
the
Shanahan
title.
is one of those guys, right? But they may not have the actual title, but I think they have a big role.
Oh yeah,
in
they work
personnel.
really closely with the person that's in charge. I read that as that's what it's going to be with the player personnel, and then it's going to be fully up to him to pick the coaches.
But then, so why is Wolf here? I haven't heard a satisfactory answer on this.
Well,
it's like,
Hart,
he's under contract. No, Andy Hart gave a good.
Hart had the best
conspiracy theory.
Yeah, he had the best theory yesterday, which was this is already a done deal with Mike Vrabel, and Mike Vrabel approved Elliott Wolf. So they're just everybody's playing out the process. They're all going to do other interviews, including Vrabel, and then it's going to be him here, and he already knows that Elliott Wolf is fine.
Yeah, so that could be one.
It could be.
Vrabel, and I think Phil Perry subscribes to that too. I'll read you some of his reporting coming up. So, maybe they know Vrabel's more open to the idea of Elliott Wolf being on board. And, yeah, I'll work with Elliott Wolf. I might bring in one of my own personnel guys as well, but I'm interested in continuing to work with Elliott Wolf. That's very possible. And it's all hashed out, and it's all a sham process, and it's going to be Vrabel and this guy. I don't think Ben Johnson would sign up for that. Maybe Vrabel would, for all I know.
Let's say they're blown away by Ben Johnson.
Yeah.
Robert and Jonathan are.
Yeah.
They're blown away by Ben Johnson. And then Ben Johnson says, I would love to bring in a guy from Detroit to run the player personnel. Do you think Robert and Jonathan would sign up for that? Because I think they would. I think if they're willing to...
I like to think they would. I'm fearful that Wolf would still be here because Keefe...
Man,
if
weird.
Ben Johnson brings... Here's why I'm fearful of it.
Yeah.
Ben Johnson brings in his guy and his personnel. The Crafts need a guy. They need a guy to know what's going on with the team and to give them information. And, it's their organization. They need a guy. They've always needed a guy. And I'm starting... I thought it was Mayo. I'm starting to think Wolf is their guy. Wolf is their guy who runs them information and gives them stuff, and he clearly has their ear. He stabbed Mayo in the back. He's still here. Mayo isn't. So I've heard this theory. Oh, well, you need people to stay here and run the ship because you can't just empty out the whole personnel department. Agreed. People need to be here.
Yeah.
Elliott Wolf doesn't need to be here.
Yeah, I'm not sure why you need Elliott Wolf.
Let me give you an example. The Commanders a year ago. The Commanders brought in a new coach. They have a new owner. They brought in a new personnel guy, Adam Peters.
And they drafted the Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, thank you. And we're pointing to them as the example of what we want the Patriots to do.
Right.
You could have kept around people to continue with the draft process and continue scouting and everything else to flip over to the new coach when you get him in here and new personnel guys. You could have done that and fired Elliott Wolf. Elliott Wolf doesn't have to be here to do that. So why is he still here? I'm fearful he's Kraft's guy, and I'm fearful that they want to keep him around.
It's like a Jack Easterby situation. I know it wasn't the same. He didn't have the same like player personnel role, but it was like he was here way longer than he thought he would be, and then he was in Houston way longer. It just kind of like latched on and was in there.
I don't like it.
And you're like, what?
I don't like it one bit. Here's Phil Perry on the latest on Elliott Wolf. I'm told there's no guarantee Wolf will be leading the personnel department in 2025. No guarantee.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean he's out.
But there's no guarantee.
No.
I'll take that as a positive.
But there's no guarantee he's gone based on that. People are taking that. I've seen this report on social media. Phil said this, and I trust Phil's reporting.
Yeah.
We'll ask Tom Curran about it at noon coming up. High noon on a Tommy Tuesday. Tier Tuesday. We'll tear off some playoff teams as well.
All right.
A little over an hour from now, Keefe Madness at 12:45, so a busy Tuesday as always. I'm told there's no guarantee Wolf will be leading the personnel department in 2025. That doesn't mean he's gone. That's not reporting
Doesn't mean he's not gone.
But that's not reporting he's gone. I've seen people taking that as, he's out.
Well, nobody's gone yet.
Right.
Nobody's gone except for Mayo.
Right.
So we're just kind of waiting around.
I don't like that. I still don't like that.
Yeah, but what are the chances that, and I know we're talking, coaches and Elliott Wolf specifically.
The chances are more than zero. They should be zero. If you fire him, there's zero. If he's still around, there's a chance, which is too high.
But it's not like Elliott Wolf and Mike Vrabel. This is just a theory that Andy Hart had, because it's not like Mike Vrabel and Elliott Wolf have like this long history. Then Mike Vrabel's for sure going to be like, yeah, he's definitely
but what
the
if
guy.
it goes something like what Andy laid out yesterday? The Krafts know Vrabel. They're talking through back channels.
Maybe.
And they go, we want to keep Elliott Wolf around. How do you feel about that? And he goes, yeah, I feel pretty good about it.
I don't know. I think he's going to be pretty I think he's going to make his opinions felt about the player personnel guy, considering that's what ultimately led to his demise in Tennessee. I think, John Robinson trading away A.J. Brown was sort of the breaking point, and then it kind of, went south from there. So if he's not on board, he has to be pretty convinced that Elliott Wolf is going to be good. Otherwise, I don't think he wants to take on that situation.
If a new head coach, writes Phil Perry, is hired and has strong feelings about bringing aboard a new front office chief, as would be the expectation for someone like Vrabel, the belief internally is the Krafts would be open to that kind of suggestion.
Okay.
Open.
Okay. You got to be open as long as you're not closed to it.
Would Wolf be open to that type of arrangement, though? As executive vice president of player personnel, no GM, not GM. In fact, the Patriots have never given out that title. In their history, under the Krafts, have not given out the title of GM. He could be asked to take on a role beneath an oncoming personnel boss, whether that's the head coach himself or someone with a front office background brought aboard by the head coach. Does Kraft believe that Wolf deserves more time based on the rapidly changing nature of the football operation after Belichick? Does he believe that Wolf deserves more time because, in the spirit of collaboration, the coaching staff had a real say in personnel decisions last offseason? Or is Kraft's respect for Wolf's resume and their shared time together that has brought him more time in the owner's eyes? Whether Wolf will continue to have final say on the roster or not is still to be determined. It's not done.
TBD, though.
But Kraft's commentary on Monday is indicative of his desire to keep Wolf and Wolf's scouting methods a little longer. People are treating this like Phil reported he's gone. That's not what Phil's reporting at all.
No, I think it's. But I at least have hope that the next head coach will have a major say. And if he doesn't like it, and hopefully he has a guy that he wants to bring with him or whatever else, then they'll make that change then. And they're just waiting to do that because they said, all right, we've already had Elliott Wolf. He's been here for a little while. The Krafts like him for whatever reason. They're not just going to blow him out for nobody because, we could say that they have a done deal with Vrabel, but what if the Bears offer him $20 million or something? Like, what if he's gone? Then you're like, oh, wait a minute. We just fired this guy. We thought Vrabel was coming in. So they need to wait until they have that guy because there's really no harm in keeping Wolf on the staff right now.
Yes, there is.
Right now?
Yes.
Well, why?
Was there harm in keeping around Mayo for a couple extra days?
No.
I think there was.
No.
Get those guys out.
They should have fired Mayo last Thursday. But Sunday afternoon versus Monday versus today, I don't think that really matters. I guess you want to get interviewed. No, but I'm just saying the next head coach, I think, should determine the next GM. Therefore, you don't have that head coach yet. So what does it matter if Elliott Wolf goes to the office this week?
If Elliott Wolf is gone, definitely gone, you fire him with Mayo. You do it all together or you do it 1 day apart or something like that. He doesn't stay around. And again, I'll give you the example of the Commanders last year. They blew out everybody. So I don't like where this is going. I really don't. And hopefully Wolf is just around to run errands and do stuff in the meantime.
Somebody could get coffee, get those donuts in the morning.
But there are a lot of people in the front. Matt Groh could do that.
Yeah, he could.
Alonzo Highsmith could do that.
He might also go to North Carolina.
There's so many people in the front office that could do that just to keep the train on the tracks. It doesn't have to be Elliot Wolf.
No, that's fair.
And Elliot Wolf feels like a Kraft guy. He feels like the guy who won the survivor battle between him and Mayo.
Do you think I'll be on your side if we find out that Elliot Wolf prevented somebody like Ben Johnson or Mike Vrabel from coming here? But I don't think so. Those guys have both, or Ben Johnson's agreed to take an interview. Mm-hmm. So it's not like Jacksonville where they see Trent Baalke still hanging around and coaches are like, no, thank you. So at least he's not.
Well, Ben Johnson's taking an interview with Jacksonville too, isn't he?
Is he? I don't know if everybody is.
Was it him or Vrabel? I'm sorry. Maybe it was Vrabel. I take that back.
Maybe Vrabel. I don't think I think Ben Johnson's just Chicago and New England, as far as I know.
The Jaguars have requested permission to speak to Ben Johnson, so that doesn't mean they're getting it.
No, it doesn't.
They also put in a request today for Liam Cohen. Those are both from Rap Sheet.
So we have that's one thing. None of us think Elliot Wolf is good at his job, but I don't think he's preventing. You're interviewing the best candidate that's out there, so that to me is at least a positive step. And if we 2 weeks from now, if we find out that Ben Johnson didn't take the job because he didn't like the direction of the front office, then we can all lose our minds.
Yeah. No, I mean, if he's still around, I think we will.
Insane. Yeah.
And this is why it comes down to trust. This is why we started the show with, do you trust Robert Kraft? Because I still really don't. I didn't think he would go through with firing Mayo, but taking a step back from it, I give him credit for that. I do. It is an easy one. 91% of the fan base or whatever, when Hart did the poll last week, 2 weeks ago, 91% of the fan base wanted him gone. It was a popular decision. That's an easy one. And I guess Wolf would be as well. But you also need people within your organization to bring you information and run stuff up the chain and what's really going on with the team, what's really going on in football ops. Elliot Wolf feels like that might have been the guy last year, not even Gerard Mayo, because Mayo's gone and Wolf is still here. So do you trust ownership? Should we trust ownership and give them the benefit of the doubt? I'm still skeptical of that. 617-779-7937. And I don't think anything that Phil Perry wrote says that Wolf is gone or won't have say. It's that it's not a guarantee that he'll be running personnel.
It's TBD. It's a well-crafted, long-winded TBD. That is what that is.
Can I read you a Burt Breer tweet we had yesterday?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Burt Breer said, I don't think Ben Johnson would take an interview if this was a sham search, so Vrabel's the favorite. But he also says post-Belichick, they set it up so Elliot Wolf and the head coach would report to ownership. I'd expect it to stay that way. That's what Breer wrote.
Yeah.
I'd expect it to stay that way. Wolf and the coach report to ownership.
But Breer's also more pro Elliot Wolf and giving Elliot Wolf a shot than a guy like Tom Curran, who's going to join us today at noon, is. So I think it's funny how sometimes you can read between the lines on some of these guys.
Well, good. Let's maybe Breer is compromised, and maybe Curran can let us know at noon. But I don't give ownership the benefit of the doubt. And I don't know if you guys out there are feeling any better. They win your trust back by firing Mayo. 617-779-7937. What are you snickering at?
Rocky's Data 0901 in the Twitch chat says, it's off topic, but does Matt Groh wear a rug?
He's got some.
I don't know.
He's got some interesting lettuce, I would say, up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be.
I mean, we can dig into that. I don't know the answer. I don't want to just throw something out there, right, and have it come back on me. So I'm just going to say I don't know.
Is that why
it's worth investigating?
That's why Wolf's still around. Kraft's like, I would have Groh do all the errands.
They talk about him on his back.
I can't take him seriously with that dead animal on his head. I can't do it. We'll get to your feedback.
I don't know because if you were going to go down that road, right, of wearing a toupee, would you want to?
It grows back in blotches.
Would you wear one like crazy so people are like, that's got to be his real hair? Because like if you're going to do a toupee, wouldn't you make it look like more like legitimate?
Yeah.
I think that might be you're hiding in plain sight.
Yeah.
Just a wild mop on top.
And you're like, people are like, that's got to be his real hair.
It's got to be real hair.
No one would wear anything that insane.
Like a completely different tone than like the horseshoe around your ears.
Just all off. Just like it's like curly and it's just like
silver
different
sides and back.
Yeah.
Jet black on the top.
Nice. So Mike Vrabel is taking interviews.
Is that a toupee, you piece of crap?
Mike Vrabel definitely real hair, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So Mike Vrabel taking interviews, does that increase the urgency for the Patriots to get out there? Is it transparent what Vrabel's up to? Who should they choose, Vrabel or Ben Johnson? Are they down to just two candidates? And how much do you trust ownership to do the right thing with personnel, i.e. is Elliot Wolf still going to stick around and survive this whole regime change?